All right, so it appears that we have at least two people in here now. I just had to. So hello. Um, as we wait for more people to show up, how's everybody doing tonight? Well, I wait to see if more people show up, of course, or see who else might say anything. I'm going to go ahead and sing a little song here, because well, good evening. Hey, Bat Goat, how you doing, man? How'd your day go today? Baby, if you ever wondered whatever became of me. I'm living on the air in Cincinnati, WKRP. Kinda got tired of packing and unpacking, town to town, up and down the dial. Maybe you and me were never meant to be, but maybe think of me once in a while. I'm at WKRP in Cincinnati. It would seem I lost that goat there. Oh wait, no. Well, there's another comment from him. Let's see. Didn't do anything hot and humid today. Yeah, we've been really well. It's kind of funny because today here in SoCal, it did get up to 86, but this morning it actually rained. I was actually out running errand, trying to pick up some prescriptions and all that, and we did have some rain there today. Johnny Fever. Yeah, well, yeah, Johnny Fever. Um, WKRP in Cincinnati. I'm just waiting to see. I see if I'm just waiting a few minutes to let some more people show up before. And there's Woody. Hey, Woody. Hi, Batgoat. Hi, Mike. Hey, Woody. We got at least three of us in here now. We'll just wait a few more minutes here to see. Give some people. Let's see. Where are we at on the time? Like 3:22. So give it at least a couple more minutes there. Seems it never rains in Southern California. It seems I've always heard that kind of talk before. Mm-hmm. Hey, Woody. Baby, if you ever wondered whatever became of me. I'm living on the air in Cincinnati, WKRP. Kinda got tired of packing and unpacking, town to town, up and down the dial. Maybe you and me were never meant to be, but maybe think of me once in a while. I'll be at WKRP in Cincinnati. Okay. That good. I am curious about why Nick's camera bothers you. Oh yeah, one of the things I actually last night I saw a notification. I guess he already put this up in terms of at least letting people know. Apparently, I guess next Wednesday, the 23rd, he has an interview set up with Vic. So that's something to look forward to because it's new and weird and doesn't look like it used to. It's the same thing Legal Eagle does, um, and he used to laugh about his. I wonder who Theodora, who who wrote the book of love, who wrote the book of love. Yeah, well, yeah. There, granted, even though I do cover primarily niche, you guys know that I am also a little bit into classic television. Um, and Back Goat, you heard me now sing twice the theme, or part of the theme, anyways, on WKRP in Cincinnati, because there was some news that came down today from that. Um, yeah, legal. How about that, right? Let's see, we're just past the 6 minute mark here. There's three of us in here. So I guess I can tell you guys what's on tap for tonight. And we got four people now apparently in here. So hello, fourth person. I hope you're having a good day today. All right. So looks like we got four people in here. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna kind of mention what's on tap for tonight. Um, I got, again, I got, of course, niche news. We got like five stories tonight, four comics related and one anime related. But I also have some mainstream news tonight. Kind of um, granted, I don't do a lot of mainstream news, a lot of mainstream entertainment news. Remember, I'm weird, and I don't apologize for it. My lame opinions are hard to justify. So, anyway, so among the news items we have tonight include four comics, like all the neat stories. The five neat stories are all from Bounding into Comics. Let's see, which include, of course, let's see. Let me go ahead and read some of these off. Include Warner Media merger with Discovery. They somebody writes could possibly lead um, to some trouble, another round of layoffs and some trouble for DC Comics. Of course, that's not necessarily news. That's been talked about quite a bit by Flash. Titan Comics gives us their first look at Elric the Dreaming City #1. Image Comics CFO Eric Larson claims that Marvel and DC bosses might shut down new comic promotions, and Blaze Publishing announces new supernatural horror titles arriving just in time for Halloween, as well as on the anime side of it. On the anime side of it, Crunchyroll and Funimation just released a trailer in regards to Fina Pirate Princess. Dave's here. Hey, Dave. Um, let's see. Dave's here. Great. Okay, let's see. Howdy, Backgoat and Woody. I'm a lurk. Okay, that's cool. Hi, Mike. Hey, Dave. Um, hey, Dave. Hey, Dave. Hope you all doing well. Yep. Well, we are. All right. So, anyways, as I said, I had five neat stories. I'll get to those in just a moment, but I want to hit kind of the mainstream news story that I saw a little bit, saw some headlines and stuff earlier today. And I have a feeling, I know the particular crowd we have right now probably would know this. Um, as you guys know, at the beginning, when we first came in, I was singing the theme song to WKRP in Cincinnati. Part of the reason for that was it was, according to headlines as of yesterday, actor Frank Bonner, who played Herb Tarlick, passed away at the age of 79 from complications of Lewy body dementia, LEWY, or Lewy body dementia. So that's the piece of mainstream news I was going to get out. Most people know Frank Bonner, as I said, from his role as Herb Tarlick on WKRP in Cincinnati. sales manager Herb Tarlick from that series, which ran from 19. The first series ran from 70 82, and then the new WKRP in Cincinnati ran from, I think, for a season. I don't know if it was 92 93 or something like that, in the early 90s. Um, oh, let's see. Actually, so Dave said F. Um, Bummer, R.I.P. Herb. Yeah, I mean, 79, he still lived a pretty long life there. So, yeah, but I guess he passed away yesterday. And so it's getting around the news on the day. But aside, of course, from his acting career, again, his main role being Herb Tarlick from WKR Cincinnati. He had, of course, a few other guest appearances on shows like Give Me a Break, Punky Brewster. He also uh, also was a director. He directed a number. He directed a few episodes of WKRP among some of the other shows he direct. He would have some directing credits for. Would include, of course, Head of the Class, which starred fellow WKRP alumnus Howard Heisman as teacher Charlie Moore in the first couple of seasons there. And then I guess his most prolific directing, his prolific time as a director happened with City Guys. He directed 105 episodes of the NBC teen comedy City Guys. So just wanted to kind of get that all out there. So RIP to Frank Bonner, actor who played Herb Tarlick, um, actor, director, most known for his role as Herb Tarlick at the age of 79 here. So, with that, um, with that, let's see. I think actually we should do at least a moment of silence for him. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, with that out of the way, now let's get into some niche news here. So as I said, we have 5 stories, all from Bounding into Comics, for comic related um, and of course, one anime related. Let me go ahead and get that set up here. All right, so let's get going here. Let's get started. We are now at the 14-minute mark here. Um, okay, so this first story, Warner Media merger with Discovery could lead to new round of layoffs, potentially spelling trouble for DC Comics. Story was written by J.B. Augustine, and it was published yesterday. And this is from the realm of comic books and television. So, and I know Yellow Flash has probably talked about this a little bit too. I know this is some scuttlebutt that's been going around quite a bit. So let's get going here. Employees at Warner Media, and especially at DC Comics and Cartoon Network, may want to keep their resumes handy and updated, as they might be out of a job following their parent company's upcoming merger with Discovery. Yeah, the source for this picture is Zack Snyder's Justice League 2021, Warner Brother Pictures. Disney CFO is Chief Financial Officer, Gunnar Wiedenfels, um, recently told investors via the Hollywood Reporter, using a lot of corporate jargon such as duplications, that cost cutting measures would soon be put in place within the soon to be formed Warner Media Discovery entity. Okay, so translated, that first paragraph simply translates two companies merging together. Obviously, a lot of redundancy because you have like, okay, you have the Warner Entertainment Department, the Discovery Entertainment Department, the Warner TV Department, obviously with the merger, that means that there's going to be one department instead of two separate departments. So obviously, to shrink that size, obviously, if you have 50 employees here, 50 employees here, okay, that's 100 employees total. Well, at least 50 of those are gone. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that all 50 of one company or all 50 of the other are going to be all gone. It's just it'd probably be likely, you know, first hired, last fired kind of thing. In other words, last hired, first fired, so let's see here. I think Mignogna will be a guest on Nick tonight. No, not tonight. Not tonight, Woody. On the 23rd. On the 23rd, which is a week from yesterday. What I saw when I saw that was it was set for next Wednesday, the 23rd. He won't be a guest on Nick's tonight. He'll be a guest on Nick's next week, unless you've heard something since that I hadn't seen yet. Anyways, so continuing on here, there's so much structural efficiency potential in the combination that we can afford to make those content investments and get to a much more beneficial financial profile, stated Gunnar Wiedenfelds to attendees of the virtual Evercore ISI inaugural TMT conference. Basically, translated, cut the work staff down to run a more efficient ship. Basically, is what I think he's saying there. Um, anyways, as we continue on there, essentially, he's saying there will be widespread reshuffling, but as expected, is attempting to put a positive spin on it. The Hollywood Reporter notes that an expected $3 billion in cost saving synergies will be implemented over a period of 2 years. In other words, translated, the moves they plan on making, they believe will save them $3 billion in money. That's I think what they're saying right there. Let's see. Give me a sec, guys, because it looks like things are getting dim in here a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and get my light turned on in my room here and a few other things. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back now. Let's see as we continue on here. As Wiedenfels is set to play a key role in the critical integration of the Discovery and Warner Media units, he tried to keep the focus of his interview on the consumers and content that'll be available to them once the deal closes. Basically, he. So what they're saying is what he's trying to do is he's trying to sell. Well, yeah, we're going to be a better company, even though we're laying off all these people. Don't focus on the people that don't focus on the people who are losing their jobs. No, don't focus on that. Focus on the fact that you, the consumer, is going to get a better product because we cut all these people. That's essentially what he's trying to say. uh, let's see that one. I think might have. Let's see what you guys are. Anyone who uses a 30-year-old joke of a phrase synergy should be bitch. Female dog slapped. Um, unless it's in reference to a video game. Uh, yeah. Basically, though, guys, it's like he's trying to spin it make so that the consumers don't feel sorry for the workers who just lost their jobs, but by putting the focus on them and saying, yeah, because these people are losing their jobs, we're going to be able to give you a better product. uh, what we're going to be able to create is a super deep and super broad library of content that has amazing consumer appeal, and it's going to be one of the most complete offerings in the direct to consumer space. He said. So now, Grant. Now, yes. So the Warner Media Library that, of course include at least from a cartoon perspective, right? That would include a lot of the stuff that was from that's like Looney Tunes, Merry Melodies kind of stuff, among other things. And then from the Discovery side of it, I think they're the ones who have. I think they're the ones that have like the stuff that you see on Cubo, like stuff like Babar and Poopa and all that. Pupa. So the stuff that's like from Cubo as well as Merry Melody stuff. Even though, of course, I know that right now, I think Tribune also has some of the rights, or at least broadcasting rights to the Warner Media Library, at least a lot of the Looney Tunes stuff, because they're doing it doing it 6 days a week, with Tune In With Me 5 days a week, and then the Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck show on Saturday morning. So, anyway, the Hollywood Reporter adds that content investment between the two sides will be heavy, and as such, there is high potential for eliminating duplication in technological and marketing expenses. Basically, meaning since they're basically taking two separate departments and combining them into one. That's essentially what they're talking about. Instead of Warner having a technological or marketing department and Discovery having a technological and marketing department, now it'll be a Warner Discovery. It'll be one Warner Discovery technical department, one Warner Discovery marketing department. Superman Volume 2, number 75, 1993, EC Comics. As Wiedenfels put it, I have no doubt we'll be able to come up with a very compelling product with super top line economics, and with a margin profile that will benefit from the elimination of this duplication. Emphasis added. Of course, basically, they're trying to make it sound like, well, we're going to be saving money to bring you more content, even though we are laying people off. People are losing their jobs, but they don't want obviously the consumers to focus on the people losing their jobs and starting to feel sorry for them. They want them to focus on the fact that they want them to still buy their products, even though people are losing their jobs over it. So I think, which is patently untrue. Less human resource equals better product. No. Well, that is the business model they're going for, Dave. I'll read that comment again, which is patently untrue. Less human resource equals better product. No. Okay. And by the way, I know I didn't say this earlier because I was kind of caught up with some of the other stuff I was talking about, of course. But I do appreciate you guys liking and sharing the stream and getting the word out. But like we already have like 5 likes up already, it looks like. So hopefully that will help get some more people in here. But anyways, in other words, they're investing in ways to make operations cheaper and more efficient for themselves through strategic cuts. We will be spending more on content this year than ever before in the history of Discovery, added Wiedenfels. We are really investing heavily. Yeah. In other words, you're investing more in content, investing less in people. A Business Insider headline agrees that all of this talk, and particularly the term cost synergies, and I know Backgoat had an issue with that term, I guess, is code for layoffs or reductions, which we have all been saying. As reported by the news outlet, synergies are a common feature of big deals, but AT&T didn't detail these cost cuts when it announced the merger. And oh man, look at a Joker right there. Doomsday Clock #5, art by Gary Frank, DC Comics. And from what I understand too, this merger might actually, I think we're going to read another article here about that too, where this merger is going to have a ripple effect on the comic side of it too. In their analysis of the situation, Clownfish TV noted that there have been signs of potential downsizing for months, and there will likely be a Bloodbath 3, a round of firings reminiscent of the last 2 layoffs made across Warner Media over the course of the last year. And I know Yellow Flash also talked about this too, where, they talked about particularly more with DC Comics, where they've had these huge set of layoffs because, you know, they're losing money, and therefore they're trying to downsize and make things run more efficiently and try to get a profit out of it. So they're downsizing. Um, as a result of these layoffs, DC suffered greatly, losing most of its executives, now including longtime co-publisher Dan Didio. Now, again, I don't think a lot of people are going to be crying over executives losing positions. Considering they usually are the ones who end up making the most money, and is now putting up with an inexperienced skeleton crew running things. And that's not always a good thing either. You don't want to have people, you don't want to thrust people who aren't ready for such responsibility right into you don't want to throw them right in the lion's den like that. That's a good point, Dave. Synergy, Zubas. Oakley's and Rachel haircuts. Yay 80s. Or yay 90s. Ah. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, we have four. Now they're saying we have four people. Good. Four people watching. So, anyways, let's see. However, Clownfish also points out that Cartoon Network has also seen a shift as numerous shows have been canceled or were not picked up for production. Adult Swim merged with HBO, and the network seems to be concentrating on kiddie shows once again. Yeah, maybe they're trying to downsize their Adult Swim lineup a bit. Um, now, now, of course, as somebody who does try to watch at least some Toonami, the big question then comes into play here: will Toonami once again basically get shut down? Uh, you know, they got shut down there back in the early 2000s and came back in 2012. So, or it got shut down in 2007 and then came back in 2012. So, as a nighttime block. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Clownfish's host, Neon and Geeky Sparkles, further mused that the best anyone at Cartoon Network can hope for is to make a bleak ton of money, as that accomplishment would in turn justify their respective position. Mm-hmm. They add that the best moves Cartoon Network has going for them in the department are in the Paw Patrol movie and the series related merchandising, while also suggesting that the potential sale of Rooster Teeth could help facilitate the parent company's desired cost cutting measures. It's Paw Patrol on Twitter. Papa Bears, Papa Bears, Papa Bears, Papa Bears. Props to Neon and Geeky. Yeah. Back to DC, given how the publisher is far from what it was in its glory years, former DC artist Ethan Van Sciver, Uncle Ethan to everybody, EVS, repeatedly says that the company could save face by licensing their library characters, though admittedly this option could adversely affect their ownership rights in the long run. The publisher's pivot to young adult readers in an attempt to salvage sagging sales is not paying off. And as such, Van Sciver routinely predicts that DC, as it stands, might get sold off to see the closure of its operations completely. A lot of people seem to be talking about that. I mean, think about it. The chances are, you know, they might be shutting down. And of course, you can always look back to whatever you feel their glory years are, or even going back to the golden age like we've been doing. Doomsday Clock number 4 there, courtesy of that. The rise of digital media and the marketplace preference for contributing or the marketplace preference are contributing factors to DC's troubles. Of course, these are also factors in Marvel's troubles too. Let's not forget that. Aside from the fact that a lot more people at Marvel are just going whole SJW BS, um, but EVS and others believe that the pushing of political agendas at the expense of good storytelling brought everything to this point. Yep, and I think a lot of people agree with that. Layoffs all over Warner could be in the thousands as Discovery restructures the place upon the merger taking hold. What do you make of the potential for the Warner Discovery merger to result in widespread layoffs? Yeah, it's a good. I mean, it's a good chance you get two large companies combining into one. So yeah, you're gonna probably have a 50% cut there in terms of employees because you can't have like you're consolidating like two separate departments from each studio into one unified department. So obviously, last hired, first fired comes into effect here. Let us know your thoughts on social media or in comments down below. Oh, there we go. There's that story. Let's see. At the 36-minute mark, I think we're making at least some decent time there. And now moving on to the next story here. That is taking its time for a moment to. So, with that being said, let's move on to this next article here then. Some interesting artwork here. Titan Comics reveals gorgeous first look at Elric the Dreaming City #1, written by John F. Trent, published earlier today. So before I get into that, though, I'm going to go off camera for a moment to just take care of something real quick. Be right back. And now I'm back. Let's see, Dave just said something here. Uh, the bleep is a Zuba. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into this article now then. Titan Comics just revealed a first look at Elric, Dreaming City, #1, by Michael Moorcock. Okay. Actually, I do believe there was an actual movie called Moorcock as well. But it, of course, I think had a slightly different meaning than this one. If you get what I mean. So there's a warrior looking guy right there. Of course, Elric, the Dreaming City, #1, cover A by Mike Mignola. The issue is an adaptation of Michael Moorcock's um, original novella, The Dreaming City, that was first published in Science Fantasy #47 back in June 1961. It also happened to be the first story from Moorcock featuring Elric of Melny Bonet. Melny Bonet. Michael Moorcock, Elric, Dreaming City. As a cover by Valentine Seeker. The comic book series is adapted by writers Julian Blondell and Jean-Luc Cano, and artist Julian Tello and Robin Techt. And here's another cover variant right here. Cover C by Eric Bourgier. Titan Comics touts this new series will seemingly be the first of many new Elric series, as it is the first time that Moorcock's novels have been fully adapted in chronological order. So they're going to try. So it sounds like they're going to try to build a universe here. There's another cover. Cover D by Julian Tello. As for the issue itself, the official description reads Elric of Melnibone is exiled from his home and cursed to walk the land under the influence of God of Chaos, Ariok. With his sword, Stormbringer, Elric must find his way through the unknown. There we go there. Elric the Dreaming One. The first issue will feature a main cover by Hellboy creator Mike Mignola. Here's some more art from the books. There will be three other variant covers by Valentin Seeker, Eric Bourgier, and Julian Tello. Elric, the Dreaming City #1, hits comic book shelves on August 10th, 2021. So about 7 weeks away. Do you plan on checking out Elric, the Dreaming City #1? You guys are saying there. We are very mature. Uh, Zubas, a kind of baggy sweatpants looking thing that usually had an aggressive tiger stripe pattern, meant to be worn by muscleheads and actually wound up on many fat, short dudes with mullets. Google pic, search it. I'm sure um, you'll see mullets and Oakley blades. Laugh out loud. I can understand now. What if Stormbringer brings storms that you can't turn it off? So everyone in town hates you. Well, I don't know. I mean, Dave, that might be an interesting thing. Well, if Stormbringer brings such a storm, I think everybody would probably end up drowning because a torrential downpour that'd be it'd be cataclysmic. That'd be like Noah's Ark type scenario, like Noah's Ark type scenario. Oh, here comes the storm guy. I hate storm guy. My roof. uh, yeah. So, anyways, we continue on here as we really move on to the next story. Here's the next story, and this one's kind of connected to the one we were reading earlier in regards to Warner, you know, the Warner Discovery merger, and DC and Marvel and all that. So so let's see now. So here we go. Image Comics CFO, that's Chief Financial Officer, Eric Larson, claims Marvel and DC bosses might shut down new comics promotion, which again has been talked about quite a bit. Well, I know from what I understand, I know Flash has talked about this too. I guess um, DC has actually been cutting down their books quite a bit lately. I think they're, I don't think, I think they're down to like 30 now or something like that from a higher number before. Um, Article, of course, written by Jonathan Trent, published earlier today. Let's get into this. Image Comics Chief Financial Officer Eric Larson recently claimed that DC Comics and Marvel Comics bosses might shut down new comics production altogether. This is a cover from Savage Dragon number 254, I believe. It's a Circle Triumphant. Larson made the comments that after expressing his views on piracy. He wrote on Twitter, on the piracy debate, there is no debate. It's criminal behavior. People are struggling to make a living, and you're taking what they're they're creating without giving them compensation. There's no justification. In response, author N. Thomas Hansen wrote, "Where do you draw the line for bloated, cross-title, blatant cash grab stories that Marvel considers consistently pulls with their main titles, though? Look at X of Swords from last year. Is it fair to expect a kid who was reading X-Men to buy 22 extra comics, $100 plus a month, $100 plus over 3 months?" Yeah, just I mean, the argument that Hansen puts in there is that it sounds like, but then again, when they almost open themselves up for piracy in some respects because when they treat customers like um like like BS. This would then trigger a back and forth between Larson and Hansen. Larson would respond, "There's nothing about that which entitles you to own it. If it's too expensive, don't buy it." Hansen responded in kind, "It's less of a problem of entitlement as it is a problem of corporate assumption that all consumers are able to withstand the rate of content. Imagine a landlord giving notice that the next 2 months you have to pay them 7 times as much as usual to keep your apartment." Mm, you guys are saying that. When does Nick stream? He streams at 9 o'clock, but let me reiterate something I said earlier because just to make sure that you guys are aware. I mentioned that Vic was going to be on Nick's stream, but that's not until next Wednesday, the 23rd, if that's what you're getting at. So Nick will stream it's 9 o'clock on the Pacific Coast, 11 Central, so that'd be midnight on the East Coast. But if you're unless he's coming on tonight as well. The one thing I did see like over yesterday or last night was that Vic would be on Nick's stream next Wednesday for an interview on the 23rd. Um, Laugh out loud, mutters under breath. Here comes Mr. Insurance claims out loud. Hi, yeah, great to see you. 11 o'clock Central. Grug, here to file claim form 82A. Thanks, Batch. Okay. Thanks for the info, Mike. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, and I know Woody thought I was meaning that Vic was going to be on tonight. He's not, as far as I know, unless something has changed or unless there was another announcement made. I don't believe Vic is going to be on tonight. What I saw was from last night, after Nick's stream or whatever, last night, this morning, where I guess Nick does have an interview set up with Vic for next Wednesday, the 23rd. So I just want to make sure everybody was clear on that, so they weren't like thinking. Anyways, getting back to the argument, getting back to the debate here. Then Larson would reveal that the bosses at DC Comics and Marvel Comics are threatening to stop producing new material because they are floundering and failing. Yeah, but that's not completely the consumer's fault for piracy either. I think piracy is the least of their issues. Okay, I think people pirating the newer comics is the least of their issues. Okay, I think it's more that they're turning off a lot of fans with the whole agenda pushing. So, you know, he explained these companies are floundering and failing. The threat from upstairs is that they'll go to all reprints and stop producing new material. They're doing everything they can to stay alive. If you can't afford it, do without. But again, it kind of sounds like well, maybe not as much that. I was thinking that it might sound like he's telling the fans to go screw off because we don't need your money. But then again, a lot of these fans that they're talking about aren't paying the money anyways. So Hansen responded, "Of course, I do agree with everything you're saying. Stealing from artists and creators is wrong in all scenarios. It was really just a specific instance that came to mind when a company's decision made me scratch my head because it almost inherently begets pirating." Yeah, that's kind of part of the problem too. A lot of times when people start complaining about pirating, at times it will drive people to pirate more. You're just you're just kind of pissing off your consumers, and they're just retaliating. While Marvel Comics and DC Comics sales numbers are now much harder to come by, given DC Comics no longer distributes with Diamond and Marvel Comics has also left the distributor. Adult graphic novel sales released monthly by NPD book scans show North American comics getting absolutely trounced by Japanese manga. Another thing we've been talking a lot, another thing I know Flash has talked about, I've kind of read through some of the articles on here as well. Yes, because manga artists, mangaka are not sitting there, pushing social agendas. The latest data from May revealed that not a single North American comic was in the top 20 on NPD Bookscan's top 20 adult graphic novelists. Yeah, it's been like way the last couple of months, 2 months in a row, where no American comic. I mean, in fact, I think I talked about this a little bit yesterday too. Is that like um American, or maybe the other day, but American comics are getting Western comics are getting so trounced that they actually had to create their another list just to make them feel better. And in Marvel's case, that didn't even work. Every single listing was a Japanese manga, with Attack on Titan Volume 33 from Kodansha Comics taking the top spot. Other titles in the top 20 included My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, Tokyo Ghoul Spy Family. And just a little heads up, guys. In Japanese title, when you see an X there, it's kind of like a hyphen. Okay, you don't pronounce the X. It's kind of like a hyphen. It's kind of like uh, um, a punctuation mark. You know, so you don't pronounce the X. It's not Spy X Family. It's Spy Family or Hunter x Hunter, as we see down below. Toilet Bound Hanaka-kun. Now get that. Now, one of the things I was talking about the other day too, when I saw that title. Imagine an American comic, a Western comic, getting beat by a manga called Toilet Bound Hanaka-kun. Toilet Bound. That's kind of wonder what that's all about, right? That's just funny. That is just funny. Let's see. Toilet Bound Hanaka-kun. Komi Can't Communicate, Hunter x Hunter, and Jujutsu Kaisen. Not only are Japanese manga dominating the adult graphic novels chart, but reprints make up a hefty percentage of the top 20 superheroes graphic novels chart. Again, that's the one they actually had to create to make it not look so bad for the Western comics. In fact, the top spot on the list belonged to DC Comics 2019 edition of Alan Moore's Watchmen. Other reprints on the list included Batman The Long Halloween, Batman The Killing Joke Deluxe Edition, hardcover, Batman Year One, the EC Archives, Tales from the Crypt, Volume 1, The Sandman Volume 1, Preludes and Nocturnes, 30th Anniversary Edition, and Watchmen the Deluxe Edition. That means 35% of the top 20 list are dominated by older books. 35%. So 7 of the top 20 spots is what they're basically saying. Put that in perspective. And then here's the Watchmen cover. What do you make of Larson's comments about the comic industry and the implication that Marvel and DC comics are floundering and failing and might even end up canning new comic production altogether? Um, I think it's going in that direction, but it's not. It's not really as much for the reason that he's saying. Again, I think the pirating issue on the comic side of it is the least of their worries. I don't think that's really the problem. A problem that has been talked about quite a bit is the fact that they keep pushing agendas and keep turning away their fans. Fans are not going to want to buy their books, you know, if they feel they're being preached, if they're not telling good stories, you know. So that's what I think. He's trying to deflect what the real problem is. And deflect from what the real problem is. Leto's here. Hey, Leto, let's see what you have to say here. Hi, hey, Mike, Batgoat, Woody, and Dave. How are y'all? All right. Having a good old time here. As always, of course, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. Helps get the algorithm up, get some more people in here. Do thank you guys for that. Um, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you guys are liking the content thus far. So we're gonna go to our last comic story of the night. And another thing that Eric Larson there, the Image Comic CEO, is also missing, is that Now there is a company that is actually providing free comics to its consumers and telling good stories. And that's Archaven Comics with their Arctoons project. That Arctoons site, and we've been covering that the last few weeks too. Obviously, with the through bounding into comics here, Arctoons is providing free comics for people to read, new material where they don't have to pirate. I mean, they of course offer subscription tiers and all of that. If people feel they can, afford it, but you know, instead of yelling at their consumers for not buying their stuff, they're actually providing stuff that's where they again you can attract more bees with honey than you can with vinegar. Uh, I think art. Yeah, I think the Arctoons project there that we've been seeing a lot of lately. Granted, I know there are people in here who don't care for Box Day because of whatever issues he has with Ethan Van Sciver, but you can at least say that he's putting some good stuff out there for people to read and enjoy, and not really jumping on the fans for. There is some. Let's see. Dave said, "Hey Leto, I'm sleepy." Hey Leto, same Dave. Hey back out. Yeah, but you still got to drive to work, right? There, Leto. Um, Staring at me, old Morrowind map. Let's see. Ah, well, at least up to 5 people now. That's cool. That's good. Um, I'm playing a cheap tower defense game right now. I guess. Um, I'll be listening on as always. Headed to work. Okay, we get that. Okay, back up. He is a tool though, and he looks like a roll of deodorant. Box Day. I'm talking. Yeah, I know. Backgoat. I'm well aware because I've seen your comments before. I know. I get you don't like. I get you don't like him. I get that your issues with him revolve around issues he has with Ethan. I understand that. Um, but on a positive note, at least he's putting comics out there that people are wanting to read. You know, can you at least give him some credit for that? You know, and he's doing, and I would say that on that front, he and Ethan may be actually more in agreement with. You know, um, the whole idea of not trashing your fans. You know, to try to spur more sales. That's just my observation on it. You know, take it for what it's worth. Anyways, so here's the next article. Ablaze Publishing announces 4 new supernatural horror titles arriving just in time for Halloween. Written by Jonathan Trent, published earlier today. Comic books and manga. Um, hey, let me see where we're at on time. Let's see. Oh, we're just past the hour mark, and we got through 3 of the 5. Well, if you count the the Frank Bonner story, we're at like four through um got four. We've got four through 4 of the 6 stories, so we're making good. I'm making good time here then tonight. So, anyways, on to this story then. Blaze Publishing announced 4 new supernatural and horror titles that will arrive in September, just in time for Halloween. The four titles include He Who Fights with Monsters number one, Monster Mind, dealing with anxiety and self doubt, crueler than dead, and Trees, volume three. Okay, so He Who Fights with Monsters number one. Here's the cover of this. Artist of something is killing the children. I guess Francesco Artabani and Werther Della Dera. This right here is Hugh Fights with Monsters right here. Number one from Blaze Publishing. He Who Fights with Monsters, number one, comes from Francesco Artabani and Werther Della Dera. The official description states on All Hallows Eve, a community struggles under the boots of the Nazi war machine. When supernatural forces come to play a part in the conflict, from the artist of the best selling Something is Killing the Children comes a Halloween tale that will send shivers up your spine. It continues. World War II is raging, and the struggle between good and evil is in full force. In Prague, the great Bohemian city is being oppressed by the Nazi occupation, and the population lives in terror, while the resistance forces try to organize themselves in the shadows. The description concludes, it is almost impossible. It is an almost impossible task, with the ruthless SS tightening their grip on every street and neighborhood with overwhelming might. Only one hope feeds the struggle, a crazy hope which rests on the fragile foundations of an ancient monstrous legend. Um, I have heard. I think there is a legend, or because kind of remember them touching upon this in the Gargoyles cartoon, where I think there is a legend in Eastern Europe of the idea of a golem, like a stone beast that comes to that. If you put like a paper in his mouth or something like that, he comes to life, and whoever put the paper in his mouth basically controls him. And so, let's see. He Who Fights with Monsters, number one, arrives on September 7th, 2021. It will retail for $3.99. Crueler Than Dead, Volume 1. Oh, look at that. Whoa, look at that right there. Yeesh. Yeesh. That can give people nightmares. Of course, Crueler Than Dead, number one. Let's see if anybody's saying anything here. Let's see. No, he attacked fans. Said he can own and break CG. Really weird. Um, I don't like Mike S. Miller or Doug TenNapel, and I don't care that they make conservative comments. I don't separate art from artist. Fair enough. But again, I'm back up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nothing wrong. I'm just giving a different perspective on the situation back up. I'm not. I hope you don't. I hope you don't think I'm trying to judge. I'm not trying to judge. I'm just trying to give a different perspective there. So Crueler Than Dead, Volume One, comes from creators Tsukasa Saimura and Kozo Takahashi. The official description begins crueler than dead, features fast paced and extremely graphic violence, concealing none of the absolute horror and requiring a strong heart and stomach. Yeah, if a lot of it's like what we just saw on that one thing we just saw, and yeah, I would have to agree with that. Um, let's see. It adds, no one knows where it started, but when the world finally realized what was going on, it was already too late. When Maki Akagi wakes up in a lab full of corpses, she learns from a dying soldier that she is the result of a last ditch experiment to cure humans of a virus, turning them into zombies. It continues. Ugh. The description goes on, accompanied by a young boy who also miraculously escaped. She will have to try to get to the very center of the devastated Tokyo filled with bloodthirsty monsters. The dome located there contains the last survivors of mankind, um, and humanity's very survival depends solely on a few drops of this miraculous vaccine. This actually kind of reminds me of an anime that I watched some episodes of a while back through my on demand. I just can't remember what the name of it was. It was basically about these schoolgirls who find themselves having to live at their school because like all of Tokyo has essentially become a zombie land. Totally cool, Mike. Okay, so that's good. Um, the description concludes inspired by Katsuhiro Otomo from Akira, The Walking Dead, Romero classics, and new zombie films like 28 Days Later. Crueler Than Dead delights in the meticulous, gory details of decomposed flesh, um, with a wicked and hungry eye, evoking a modern vision of a zombie world that is um, terrifying, tension filled and unsettling. Crueler Than Dead Volume 1 arrives on shelves on September 29, 2021. It will retail for $12.99. Quite a price there. Monster Mind, dealing with anxiety and self doubt. Ablaze. Let's see. High School of the Dead. Well, that's not the one I'm talking about. Albeit, I think the same dubbing company, Sentai, did it. Um, albeit, I can't remember the names of the characters in this particular one. One of the main characters was kind of a shorter girl, pink-haired girl. Um, it wasn't High School of the Dead. It was another one. In fact, if I remember correctly, the girls weren't. It wasn't a high school. It was actually a middle school. Yeah, I do know. Maybe I can. Figure something out here. Let's see. Just give me a sec here. I can probably there's a way I can probably find out here. See if I can find it. School Lives. That's the name of the School Lives is the name of the anime. Leto. Name of it is School. The name of the anime I was just thinking of was School Lives. Had to go track that down a bit. So, anyways, so get back to the story real in a sec here. Okay, so back to the article here. Monster Mind, dealing with anxiety and self doubt, comes from the mind of Alonso Casas. Um, the official description reads Alfonso Casas' Monster Mind is a very personal account of the inner monsters that live inside his head, but who does but who doesn't have a monster inside of them. I think we all do. We all at times have the conversation between the angel and devil, angel on one shoulder and devil on the other. Um, it continues. Who has never heard of the voice inside their head undermining everything they do? You're not good enough. You just got really lucky. There are people far better and more qualified than you. In a very honest exercise, Alfonso Casas identifies and introduces his own monsters to his readers. Mr. Past Traumas, Mr. Fear, Mr. Social Anxiety, Mr. Imposter Syndrome, Mr. Sadness, Mr. Doubt, the pessimistic, the insecure, the self demanding, the monster that keeps you from sleeping while you think of what you could have said back in that conversation 2 years ago, or that keep keeps you looking over the punctuation of every text message to figure out the tone lurking beneath the surface. All those monsters make up the the bestiary of contemporary society, the description states. It concludes, but the anxiety generation is expert in more things in looking inside themselves and their lives. Why not? And laughing at their own neuroses as best they can. In the end, if the monsters won't leave us, we might as well get to know them and laugh at them. Anxiety is another pandemic, but the monsters dwelling inside us are funny too, especially as drawn by Alonso Casas. Ablaze reveals that the book also includes a discussion guide to help readers further discuss anxiety and find ways to deal with it. The book hit shelves on September 29th, 2021. It will retail for $19.99. Okay. Trace Volume 3. Now, this one is, I know, has been getting a lot of. Uh, anyways, something stuck in my throat there for a moment. Okay, thanks. hmm So, Trace Volume 3, which is one I know we've been talking a bit about as well. I know I read a couple stories on it recently, so let's, I guess, more the anime adaptation. But here we go. Trace Volume 3 is created by Budget Tan and Kajo Baldacimo. Um, the official description begins: the award winning supernatural crime thriller by Filipino creators Budget Tan and Kajo Baldacimo um, continues. Trace Volume 3, Mass Murders, contains 5 stories from the case files of Alexandra Trace. It continues. It's 12 midnight in the Metro Manila. Try to remain calm as you walk down the dimly lit streets. If you are suddenly surrounded by a pack of dogs that appear from nowhere, these might be a segment tracking down their prey. Avoid the butcher's shop that's open at this hour. It might be a front for a gang of vampiric um, Oswong, shape shifting evil creatures of Filipino folklore. The description concludes, yet there's an even deadlier threat to the city tonight. An ancient being that thrives on violence and thirst for blood has found new disciples in modern Manila. Sacrifice has been demanded. Rituals must be executed. When crime takes a turn for the weird, the police call Trace. Trace Volume 3 arrives September 29th, 2021. It will retail for $16.99. One night in Bangkok makes a hard man humble, and guts a she. I can see the devil walking next to me. Anyway, yeah, I liked the first time I read it in the 70s, called the Mr. Man series, except this is an evil version. What are you talking about, Trace? Talking about Trace, or are you talking about Monster Mind? They're back out. So we do have one more. Let's see, we're already at an hour 23, going on hour 24. I do have one more story to go through. Um, I know this has been listed for a while as coming to Toonami at some point. Um, but with all the delays due to the pandemic and all that, that's why it didn't come about. So here's the last main story of the night. Crunchyroll and Adult Swim announced new information about Fina, Pirate Princess, including new trailer written by John F. Trent, published earlier today. Crunchyroll and Adult Swim announced quite a bit of new information about their upcoming series, Fina, Pirate Princess. The series follows Fina Hauptmann as she is on the run from pirates and the English Navy and must rely on a crew of Japanese samurai to unlock her family secrets and an unimaginable treasure. A new trailer gives you a better idea. Take a look. And then, of course, it probably is on YouTube if you want to go take a look at that. There's a picture of it right there. Along with the trailer, we got a new piece of key art as well. Check that out below. Pirate Princess. The official description for the series reads Fina Houtman remembers little about her childhood. Orphaned and raised as a servant in a brothel. Oh, isn't that lovely? Little girl gets to be a servant in a brothel. That's probably very lovely. Her life changes when she escapes to an island of pirates, where she discovers the truth behind her family. It concludes with Fina being the only one able to unlock her family's secrets and a formidable crew of female pirates on her tail. She must take her place as captain of her samurai crew for a high season. That does sound like kind of an interesting story, doesn't it? The art doesn't look too bad either. Along with this new trailer, key art, and description, a number of character designs were also revealed as the series was featured as a work in progress series during a panel at an NC International Animation Film Festival in France. Yeah, because I know that it was announced initially last year that it was coming to Toonami. I do know that. I know it's still listed as still coming to Toonami. They just don't know yet. Along with Uzumaki, which we talked about yesterday. Um, Attending the panel was a series director Kazuto Nagazawa and producer Rui Kuroki. Nakazawa discussed his inspiration for the series. He stated, "It made me want to make an anime with a flavor of shoujo manga in it." And he also noted that while the series features plenty of action and adventure, it is basically a love story. Wow, that's kind of interesting. As for the character designs, check them out below along with their character description. So here's Stina Houtman right here. As a look. Oh, that's sweet. Look, nice white dress there, white shoes. Almost like they're trying to make her look very angelic there with that. Fina will be voiced by Asami Seto. Um, she's described as a positive, cheerful orphan despite her traumatic past, known for her pale skin and glowing silver hair. Yukimaru. Yukimaru is voiced by, of course, these are the Japanese voice. I don't think they've announced an English dub for this yet. Still probably in the works. So Yukimaru is voiced by Ryota Suzuki. Here is his description: the introverted katana wielding bodyguard of the Houtman family. He is extremely protective of Fina. Oh, that's going to be interesting to see. So we all have seen characters like that. Let's see now. So what, we're down to only two people watching now, huh? But at least I got 8 likes. That's cool too. Um, Shitan, Shitan, Shitan. Shitan is voiced by Takahiro Sakurai. Here's how he's described: this handsome elite warrior can kill with his bow and arrow or his looks. Well, this guy's a lady killer, is what they're trying to say here. Um, though on the surface he seems aloof, he greatly values his friends. Kari. All right, here's another young lady here. Kari. Let's see about her. Aoi Yuki voices Karin. Here's her description. Raised by a family of blacksmiths, Karin geeks out over technology like her rifle, which she uses to great effect in battle. Enju. I wonder if Enju might be a guy or well, I think he's a guy based on what we're seeing here. Enju is voiced by Gin Sato. He's Kaede's elder twin. They're both they both so yeah, they're saying Enju is a guy here. They both use a spear and wakizashi in battle. Um they're both friendly and mischievous, but Enju feels he's more dependable than his younger brother. Oh, okay, so Kaede's younger. Okay. There's Kaede right there. Kaede is voiced by Ryota Osaka. He's Enju's younger twin. They both use a spear and wakizashi in battle. They're both friendly and mischievous, but Kaede feels he's more manly than his elder brother. Hmm. Actually, from the looks of them, I can tell if I couldn't until they said something. I couldn't tell if they were boys or girls. Oh, go figure. Subaki. Jun Osuka voices Subaki. He's described as the oldest and most mature member of the group. He manages everyone's wild energy. He's also the cook, but when he fights, he uses a short ninja sword. So, okay. I don't remember what the name of a short ninja sword is. But Makaba. Shintaro Tanaka voices Makaba. Makaba's description reads, "This mountain of a boy prefers fighting in close quarters with brass knuckles. This guy's more of a hand to hand guy. Um, when he's not fighting, he's kind hearted and mild mannered. So yeah, so typical trope there. Big softy when it comes down to it. Sounds like um, no, not not that Woody, not that. No, Shetan. I know. Yeah, because they're yeah that the first how that word does look like that. There's also another Japanese word called shite, which I could see a lot of people thinking it means something else. I don't know what shite actually means, but I can see a lot of people, particularly in the South, thinking it sounds like shitty. Uh, his name is Shite, is how you pronounce it. Ah, Salmon. Salmon is voiced by Manabu Miraji. Um, Here's how he's described: an older knight who was once called Salmon the Onslaught for being so deadly with a spear. He's known Fina since she was a girl, as he served the Houtman family for some time. Otto. Finally, Otto is voiced by Hiroaki Hirata. Here's his description: another older knight who served the Houtman family and possessed an intimidating nickname in his younger days, Otto the Blitz, for his quick swordplay. And here are some more. Not only is Nakazawa directing the story, but he also came up with the original story alongside Production IG. Um, a screenplay was written by Asako Kubayama. Um, the music for the series is from Yuki Ka, um, Kajiura, and I believe she's done work with I think she's the girl from Fiction Junction Yuki. She did a lot of work, which did a lot of the music scores for the Dot Hack Project, among other things. Um, the music production by Flying Dog. Production IG is behind the animation production. The series will debut dubbed on Adult Swim's Toonami and simultaneously on Crunchyroll with a sub version sometime later this summer. Okay, but as of yet, I don't know if we know anything about. Let me check something here. See if I can find a find out if I can find out who is licensing it in North America here, then I'll have a pretty good idea who will likely be subbing it, or who will be dubbing it rather. So let's see. Well, it's being licensed by Crunchyroll, Warner Brothers TV Studio. So, um, again, still no indication who might be doing the dubbing. If I had to take a wild guess, it's likely. Of course, I could be wrong. Program block English dub. Um, sometime before October. The English dub could be. I had to guess it might be the LA voice actors, but I'm not sure. Let me just see something here. See if any other indication here. Any indication is they just simply may not have announced the check one more. Just trying to find out who may be dubbing it. Let's see. Yeah. There's been no announcement on English staff or cast yet. Um, all they're saying is that the broadcaster is going to be Adult Swim, and the internet streaming is so yeah. So if I had to guess, though, just taking a wild guess, I'd have to say it could be the LA voice crew who might be dubbing that. But anyway, so that's the last of the main stories tonight, guys. See, we're already. So I made good time tonight. We're coming up on an hour 40. Um, so I think that it would be a good time then for us to start winding down. Are you guys ready for this day in each history? If anybody's still here, are you guys ready for this day in each history? Of according to this, only 2 people are still watching. So, uh, now we got 3 people watching apparently now. Okay. Commence niche. Okay. And ready. Okay. So without any further ado, let's today being Thursday, June the 17th, 2021. Let's take a look back at this day in each history. Yes, June 17th, Woody. hmm Today is June 17th, 2021. So let's take a look back at this day in each history. And the first thing we're going to look at, well, we will be heading back to 1998, which happens to be 23 years ago, as on this date, 23 years ago, um, the fifth and final issue of Gen 12 um, went on sale on this date from Image Comics from their Wildstorm imprint. Sold for $2.50 and was 32 pages. So on this date, 23 years ago, today in 1998, the fifth issue of Gen 12 would make it would go on sale on this date from Image Comics from their um, Wildstorm imprint. And the other piece of niche news I was able to find for tonight, and yes, it is. We're back into the 21st century. Back go. I tried, but these are the only 2 things I found for tonight. Um, so on this date, 15 years ago today, in 2006, um, Ring of Honor held its ROH In Your Face event from the New Yorker Hotel in New York City. So from the ROH on this date in 1998, 23 years ago today, or sorry, 15 years ago today in 2006, from the New Yorker Hotel in New York, ROH held its Ring of Honor In Your Face event. In the main event of that night, Kenta defeated Samoa Joe and Bryan Danielson, better known to most fans as Daniel Bryan, in a 3-way match. Also on the night, saw Shane Hagedorn defeat Mitch Franklin for the top of the class trophy, and Austin Aries and Roderick Strong defeating Nigel McGuinness and Colt Cabana to retain the tag titles, ROH tag titles. You also saw, I don't know if he was at the time. I know around this time, might have still been a little before, but around this time, Adam Pearce was the reigning, I believe he was the reigning NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He battled Claudio Castagnoli he defeated him via DQ. Claudio Castagnoli, known to most WWE fans right now as Cesario. Um, so that's pretty much all that happened on this day on this day in history. So I thank you guys for being here. Don't forget tomorrow night, Batgo and I will be looking at um, we'll be continuing to look through comics that went on sale in November of 1937, looking at Ultim Publications, Funny Pages number 15. Backup, I'll be sending you, of course, the StreamYard link earlier in the day. So, a little note attached. Peace. Yeah. So, anyways, guys, I thank you all for being here. I thank you guys for the likes and shares, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.